John, I'd like to start out by kind of framing the conversation today and talking about No Child Left Behind and its goal of giving every child a chance to learn to high standards.
Well, the No Child Left Behind Act implies that some children were being left behind. And part of what was happening in some places, especially in rural settings, such as in West Virginia, is that some students were being exempted from the testing and also exempted from some experiences in the classroom. So No Child Left Behind made an attempt to include more students in the state standards and district curriculum and in the state testing. West Virginia had some examples of districts in which there were up to 20% of the students who did not participate in standardized testing. So districts were able to bubble those students out, let's say, of the standardized tests. And in fact, what the situation involved was that these students were low SES, or socioeconomic status. So they weren't necessarily cognitively challenged or they weren't students with disabilities cognitively, but they were students that have not been given the opportunity to learn. And that dilemma caused No Child Left Behind to shift that pendulum to the other side, so that we want to include all students in testing standards and the curriculum experiences, the instructional experiences. So No Child Left Behind says that 95% of all students must participate in all subgroups also, and those subgroups include ethnic groups such as white, black, Latino, American Indian, Asian, Pacific Islander, but it also includes low SES. It includes students with special needs in learning, and ELL students, or English language learners. No Child Left Behind doesn't dictate standards to states, so states are able to create their own standards. However, they do monitor that creation of standards, and they have required that states, through No Child Left Behind, develop criterion reference tests. So the test that we have now under No Child Left Behind is somewhat different than what we might have seen 10 or 12 years ago, where a state may use an off-the-shelf test that is nationally normed, but may not align very well with the standards that the state has adopted for use in the classroom. So each state can adopt their own set of standards, but they're required to have this criterion reference test that is aligned to those state standards. Then states submit their standards and assessments to a system that's called federal peer review. And in federal peer review, they may take people from across the nation, different states, maybe state departments of education staff, to look at what a state has submitted as far as their standards and assessments go. So let's use West Virginia as an example. When they submit their standards and their assessments, maybe people from Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, Florida, maybe would be on a small panel to review those things and see if that state has indeed adopted standards with rigor and challenge, and also have assessments that are aligned to those standards. So that brings us to this word, alignment, which you said is going to be the focus of the show. Alignment speaks to the degree to which standards, assessments, and curriculum agree in their purpose and use. And alignment of these components ensures that our educational system operates in harmony and it operates consistently, and it's contributing to the progression of student achievement. So Edvantia is involved in alignment work in several different areas. That can include curriculum, if we're talking about what teachers actually use in the classroom, whether that looks at standards as far as the state standards of being rigorous and of challenge, or the alignment between the standards and the assessments that's being used for summative assessment. The idea is that there would be alignment among all of these components, and that if any of these are misaligned, let's say, they're not serving their purpose. So let's say I had really good curriculum materials and I have really rigorous and challenging state standards, but the assessment that I use to report the performance of how students are doing, that assessment is misaligned. So teachers might take that assessment data and they might make changes in their instructional strategies that maybe affect negatively student performance. Maybe it might help, but if the assessment is not aligned, then the information given back to teachers causes them to make bad decisions and bad choices. And not just teachers, but school districts and those developing state policy as well.